Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. This is going to be my midnight pre-patch destruction Warlock DPS guide. Hopefully a brief one compared to the usual larger guides. We're going to be covering the changes to Destro Warlock, talent builds for single target, Mythic Plus, all that, and then some rotational things. Now, I'm going to be honest, if you've played Destruction Warlock in the past 10 years, it's the same thing. Not a whole lot really changed. Some things have. Capstones have changed a bit. So we'll get into that, break down builds, look at some rotational stuff. But this video should be the shortest of all three because, you know, not a whole lot really changed. A couple things here. If you missed the AF or demo guides, those are already out on the channel. You can look back on those. I made a UI video 2 days ago as well with profiles and things. It might change a little bit. I have swapped to unhalt the unit frames from that video and everything else. I'll have that profile up probably tonight somewhere. I don't know. I'll update the video. Or maybe I'll post it in Discord tomorrow, but those are all up if you want them. At the same time, we're like 2.5k subs from 100k. If you guys aren't subbed to the channel here on YouTube, it would mean the world to me if you subbed or consider doing so. We are super close. I thought we maybe would hit 100k by midnight launch. Might even hit it beforehand. Insane. So if you guys aren't subbed, it would mean the world to me. But either way, let's get it rolling. Okay, so change-wise, there's been some quality of life added to Destro for its like baseline toolkit, but Immolate, Incinerate, Conflagrate, Chaos Bolt, Rain of Fire, Havoc, Infernal, they're all still here. Same thing, builder, spender, spec, Chaos Bolt costs 2 shards, you launch them, so on and so forth. Bolts up here, Conflagrate's here, Rain of Fire still has its at location or at target casting here. I use a macro for it at, my cursor, but whatever you want. They've changed. They didn't change, but they separated Improved Conflagrate from Roaring Blaze. Improved Conflagrate grants you 3 stacks, or an additional stack of Conflagrate. So you have 3 now. You basically play it in most places. Some builds aren't playing it in Plus. A couple talents might change a little bit. We'll see where it goes, but there's that. Roaring Blaze is no longer a fire damage amp. It increases Conflagrate by 10%. And Conflagrate now erupts the target's Immolate or Wither, if you are playing Hellcaller, spreading it to 3 nearby enemies. This is how you maintain your Immolate or Wither effects, basically an M+, after casting Cataclysm. CDF is here, however, it's become a capstone. It does indeed extend things. The channel time is a bit slow, the damage is sort of For the most part, Roaring Blaze should cover most targets either way. Also, in single target, you cast Soulfire in your opener, or Immolate, whatever, and you never refresh it again, because this refreshes it all the time. Besides that, you have other talents here. Havoc and Mayhem are still here. Havoc has a half-minute cooldown, 30 seconds, but it lasts baseline 20 seconds now. And it's 25 with Improved Havoc, so it lasts 25 seconds and has a half-minute cooldown. Havoc feels really good on cleave fights, so we'll look at that in a little bit here. Cataclysm's here. Lake of Fire is a new patch on the ground it leaves behind. It does damage, actually pretty decent for single target and AoE. Shadowburn's here. It's changed. It does cost a shard now. You can only use it when a target is below 20% health. You can't even hit the button. It's grayed out if you're talented into it, unless it drops below that threshold, unless you get a proc from Fiendish Cruelty, which gives you a chance to cast it for free, basically. Backdraft still here, or Backlash, Ashen Remains, Infernal still here, Crushing Chaos, Reign of Chaos, Fire and Brimstone, so on and so forth, yada yada. The gist of this tree is pretty much the same. A lot of random fillers, stat increases, all kind of stuff. There's that. Ruin and Devastation are here at 2-point talent nodes, improved Chaos Bolts. They added Inferno, which makes Infernal 1.5 minutes instead of 2. Chaos Incarnate is still here. Diabolic Embers is still here. Destructive Rapidity gives you more Rain of Fire. Basically, it deals more damage and increases Immolation Aura or whatever. And Alethys's Ire or whatever gives you a chance to make an extra Rain of Fire cost no shards. And then over here, you have CDF stuff here. So for the most part, it hasn't really changed a crazy amount. Our hero talents are here. Keep in mind, we do not have Apex talents heading into next expansion, or sorry, pre-patch, basically. You do have the 4th row of hero talents here. So we'll look at that in a minute, talk about what we're playing here. But you don't get the 3 extra hero talent points. So if you're going to play this row here, you got to choose what you're pulling out of here. But that's that. So let's talk about the talent builds. If you want links to them, they'll be down below in the description to a pastebin link for all of the builds for every spec. Alrighty, so jumping into the talent builds here, we're going to look at single target builds for both Diabolist and Hellcaller. They are actually the same thing for the spec tree. At least that's what I'm going with as far as like initial stuff is concerned. It might change. If it does, I'll update it, obviously. There's no sims for this stuff. This is what I've tested with for the most part, and it feels to be right, mostly. So when it comes to Diabolist, I've opted to pull a point out of Gloom of Nathriza, as well as like Flames of Zoroth and this like passive trait here or whatever, to get into Diabolic Oculi, Looks That Kill, and Mind's Eye. For the most part, this is just like your tier set from current patch that they're getting rid of in pre-patch. The eyeballs are going to be here, the oculi are working, all that kind of stuff. But you fling whenever you consume shards of the ritual, or whenever you have a ritual, basically. Not much really changes there. It does feel like it's going to be a little better than Flames of Zoroarth and Gloom. It's 3 DPS traits comparatively to like 2 and a utility trait. Keep in mind, if you're not playing Soul Edge Circles, you don't have your Soul Burn Teleport. So, you know, for root breaking and all that, that's the case. As far as single target's concerned, for Hellcaller and Diabolist, same thing here. Very briefly, here's the Hellcaller hero talent tree. I've pulled out of Zephrym's Resilience, or this talent here, this row basically, and Mark of Porther Arm to hop into Through the Fellvine and Devil Fruit. This is pretty solid, doubling the essential effect when Malevolence is active of like the Chaos Bolt damage amp, as well as just proccing randomly and giving you the effect more often. I think this is likely better than playing these two. If it changes, is what it is. But so for the spec tree itself, I mean, you're playing most like the normal single target traits, Roaring Blaze, improved conflict rate, so on and so forth. Cataclysm and Lake of Fire. So Cataclysm obviously applies to Immolate your Wither. Your spoilers ahead, you're playing Soulfire too, but Lake of Fire is actually a decent bit of damage in single target. It ends up being like 5 or 6%, I believe, of my damage. I cast it on cooldown on your target, whether it's single target or AOE, obviously you're casting it on cooldown. Even in single target, cast it on cooldown. Immolate's never going to fall, regardless, because you have Roaring Blaze here. You put it up one time on pull in a patchwork fight, it's never falling, because you're conflict rating, you know, all the time, right? But cast it in single target on cooldown. Damage seems decent. As long as the mob or mobs aren't being pulled out of the Lake of Fire. It's seriously like Rain of Fire. If they pull it out of it, you're losing damage. But if it's stationary or you know what's happening, just hold it. Or just hold it for a stationary time and pop it on cooldown, right? Besides that, 2 points in Backlash, Asher remains, Chaotic Inferno, skipping over Flashpoint and Fire and Brimstone here. I wouldn't mind getting this node, but I don't know how to get it really. Shadowburn feels pretty rough early on before 20%, especially without Conflagration of Chaos. If you get both these and have Conflagration of Chaos and execute, it's probably pretty good, but you're asking way too much because the capstones here are bloated and they weren't really addressed, unfortunately, during beta. So there's that. Infernal, Crashing Chaos, Entropy here, obviously Embrace, and that's that. Getting down here, you have Ruin, Devastation, crit modifiers, basically, improved Chaos Bolt. We are playing Soulfire. It's been pretty good for me in testing. Decimation is gone. The free proc of it and the reduced cast time when it procs, it's gone. They've reduced the cast time of Soulfire a lot regardless, though. It's a baseline 2.7 second cast for now, without me being in combat with Flashpoint, whatever, and you also have Backdraft to reduce the cast time as well of Soulfire by 30%. You're looking at like a 2 second cast, roughly. It's not that bad. It hits, honestly, pretty hard. Like, Chaos Bolt's hitting for 4.5, this is hitting for 8.6. It hits pretty hard, and it's guaranteed to summon your Overlord. If you don't want to play it, want to play Rifts instead, you can. They're a passive now. They're not even a button, and it's super RNG to spawn the Overlord in, comparatively to Soulfire spawning it in every time on a 45-second cooldown. So I'm playing Soulfire in single target. Inferno, Chaos Incarnate, this gives you a 1.5 Infernal, Mastery Increase, and Diabolic Embers. I'd love to get Conflagration of Chaos, but unfortunately our capstones are just bloated and not really addressed last month of beta or so, give or take. And we can't get it without having to pull points out of Devastation to hop into a dead talent to get Embers and hop over here. So maybe in 12.1, I don't know, is what it is. But this is what I'm playing here for single target. I will say, when it comes to Inferno, for Diabolist, I mean, you're playing 1.5 Infernal. If you're playing this regardless, whatever spec. Diabolist doesn't really care a whole lot. I mean, like, as far as syncing it up with other abilities, the only cooldown you have is Infernal, playing Diabolist. If you're playing Hellcaller, though, you have Malevolence. That's a minute cooldown, and it makes it weird. For Diabolist, I'm throwing Infernal every 1.5, Crushing Chaos every 1.5. Hell yeah, sick, awesome. For Hellcaller, it's weird. I want to have Chaos Incarnate. There might be a world that maybe you just, I don't think you skip this because it's a mastery effect and you get Chaos Incarnate as well. There could be a world where you possibly just skip this and go like Conflagration of Chaos and maybe like hop into Shadowburn and grab something else, like maybe drop, I don't even know, something else like single target-esque base, maybe like, I don't know, maybe like drop this and go like this possibly. Because like 1.5 Infernal for Hellcaller feels weird because you're popping Infernal and Malevolence on pull together, and then a minute later you have Malevolence, gets a minute cooldown, but then half a minute later you have Infernal again, which I don't really want to desync, and I really don't want to desync because of Through the Fellvine doubling Chaos Bolt damage, when Malevolence is active and buffing it in general, plus Crash and Chaos stacking with that. And just stacking CDs in general. The way Malevolence works, you spend shards, it gives you twice the amount of stacks, haste. It feels really weird. I wouldn't be surprised to see a build like this emerge for Hellcaller in single target or certain settings. But I'm sticking with just this across the board for now. I'm just going to hold my Malevolence. Because if you get into like super technical builds of like no Incarnate, no Inferno, double Shadowburn, Conflagration Chaos, no Kata, Flashpoint, that's a robot thing. Ask Skynet, ask the robot. I can't figure that out. I don't care if I figure it out. But so that's that. Yeah. As far as like cleave is concerned for Hellcaller stuff, not a whole lot really changes for both Hellcaller or Diabolist. Here's Hellcaller. Watch what swaps here. I'm just pulling out of Cataclysm, hopping into Havoc and Improved Havoc. If you really want Kata, maybe there's a world you once again you pull out of like Inferno and Chaos Incarnate and grab both of these and just play Havoc with these instead if they're like stacked Havoc cleave. But for both builds here, I just pulled out of Cataclysm and Lake of Fire and just grab both these. Think of a fight like Cauldron or Carnage, for example, something like that. Some spread cleave scenario. You're not getting a whole lot of Kata value, but you still want to have your other amps like Incarnate and the Mastery increase here in Havoc, right? So that's sort of where this is at. I have a link down below to that as well. When it comes to M+, honestly, if you look at like the single target build, like here's the M+ build for Hellcaller. Here's single target. There's not a huge shift here. You're pulling out of like Soulfire Avatar stuff. I'm pulling out of Improved Conflict Rate and hopping over into Reign of Chaos, like just swapping it up here, playing Rapidity, playing Ire, how do you say that word? And hopping into something else. Oh, we're changing Mayhem here. No Havoc or no Improved Havoc and Mayhem. Not a whole lot really changes though. You still have the structure of Chaos Bolts, Immolate, Incinerate, Conflict Rate. Yeah, it's the same thing for Diabolist and Hellcaller. And in a similar scenario, you have a minute Malevolence for Hellcaller, a minute and a half Infernal, which feels very weird with Inferno. So there could be a build, once again, that emerges, maybe just not playing this for Hellcaller and hopping into like, I could see a build like this for Hellcaller easily being played, something like this, honestly. Where you get like Flashpoint, Fire, and Brimstone. You skip most of the stuff here because of how bad the capstones are. You take all the passive modifiers and skip the Infernal stuff. I would assume this build could very well emerge. I'm going to leave both like just the general builds in here for now. This is more of like a could be good and rewarding kind of build, but I'm not sure if it's too risky to post and say, hey, play this, it's way wrong. I'll test with it and see where it goes, but I'll have like this build here for both Hellcaller and Diabolist down below. But keep in mind, it may change. With that being said, let's look at rotations briefly. All right, now as far as Destruction's single target opener is concerned, we're going to be looking at Diabolist here. Diabolist and Hellcaller open up the same way. The only real difference between the two is if you're a Hellcaller, you have Malevolence, so you pop this after you cast your Infernal. If you skip the last part of the video, mentioning it here again, Malevolence, minute cooldown. Infernal with Inferno is a minute and a half on Infernal's cooldown. I'm just going to hold my Infernal for Malevolence, basically making it a 2-minute cooldown, even if I have this talent playing Hellcaller, due to like through the Fellbind, Cascade, Crash and Chaos, sinking, all that kind of stuff. I'm taking this more for the mastery point or percent. There could be a build once again that emerges playing like Conflagration of Chaos, Shadowburn stuff, pulling out of here and pulling out of here to hop in these other nodes. It's too much. Sims aren't done. I'm not gonna sit here for hours tinkering with it, but I mean, if it does, I will update the builds obviously. But rotationally, same opener pretty much. It's just literally. If you're playing Hellcaller, pop Malevolence after your Infernal. I'm holding Infernal for every Malevolence cast, being basically a 2-minute cooldown. Malevolence being 1. If I'm playing Diabolist, I throw my Infernal on cooldown every minute and a half and cast big Chaos Bolts. So let's open up here. This is bugged, by the way. This has been bugged for about a month on beta. It's bugged on PTR now too, apparently. Roaring Blaze should cause your conflict rate to refresh or immolate, but it's not, so you got to watch it manually. If you're casting Cataclysm on cooldown, which you should be with Lake of Fire and Soulfire and things as well, you got to refresh it once or twice between there. Whatever. Hopefully they fix it. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, so let's say we're opening up here. We're going to precast the Soulfire right about now. Here it comes. We're going to go Infernal, Trinkets, Conflict Rate, and begin casting Chaos Bolts. Dump some here. I'll try to work in a Cataclysm. Basically, on pull when I dump some shards here so I don't overcap. So there's Cataclysm. Lake of Fire comes down. Boom. There's the Immolate Refresh. And just keep casting Incinerates to build shards, Conflict Rates, Chaos Bolts, and that's basically it. It's Destro from the last 20 years. It's the same thing. But the toolkit does feel a little better with some of the changes they've made quality of life wise. Yeah, it's sort of that. So we have Soulfire at about 13 here, which is nice. But Inlet's going to fall here because it's bugged currently with Roaring Blaze, so we'll refresh that. Launch a Ruination here. Launch a Bolt. Why not? I'm going to Cataclysm here and single target again because it's off cooldown with Lake of Fire. Bam, there it is. I'm going to wait to cast my Soulfire until I get a Backdraft stack here, which we have now, and we'll launch Soulfire. The cast time isn't really that long. Like, it's about 2 seconds. Not like super short, but it's not like it's, you know, taking forever. It's about the same time as a Chaos Bolt, if not a little faster, if you're backdrafting it, right? So that's basically it. I got an Infernal in half a minute. If I kept going here for another minute and a half, or another half a minute, I'd hit it, but I'm going to stop pretty soon. And, yeah, that's basically it. All right, now, when you're looking at more of an M+ build for Destruction Warlock, right? I am playing Mayhem in this build here. Most builds are going to play Mayhem. Some might play Havoc, but due to like the RNG, just chaotic nature of Mayhem proc, but not being a GCD, not taking time off of casting rare spells, just proccing passively, most opt to play Mayhem over Havoc in M+ based scenarios. If you're playing a Havoc cleave based build, like this, for example, like in a single target-esque setting, I didn't mention it before, but Havoc's super easy. You just hit it on one target and start casting on the other, and it duplicates spells. I said earlier, Mayhem's or Havoc's 25 seconds with improved Havoc. It's actually 20. It's 15, then plus 5 is 20. Sorry, I'm tired, man. It is what it is. But it's long regardless. Anyways, so for opening up an M+, though, let's say we're heading into a pack, the tank's rounding it up and stuff. Cataclysm applies Immolate or Wither to basically whatever target's in the circle when you cast it, so it's pretty simple. So we're going to go in here, and just like usual, we're going to go in, cast our Cataclysm, put our Infernal down. I will Trinket, pop Malevolence, Rain of Fire, and then cast a Conflagrate, maybe an Incinerate or two to build shards, another Conflagrate, Rain of Fire, pray for a Mayhem proc if it happens. Praying for a Mayhem proc, maybe it'll happen. Hoping, praying, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, but still casting Rain of Fires. The gist of it is you're just casting Rain of Fires, building shards. Or you're casting Immolates or Conflagrates, building shards for more Rain of Fire cast. I don't know why it's been proccing, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Maybe it's bug on dummies. Now, every half a minute, you're going to have Cataclysm. So you cast it. Lake of Fire here does a lot of damage, obviously, for targets that are in the general Cataclysm like radius, which is nice. There's a Mayhem proc right there. Only took half a minute. So Mayhem can proc passively, which if it does in the middle of like your Incinerate cast or Conflagrate cast, it'll duplicate that and give you twice the amount of shards from that cast because you're casting basically 2 spells instead of 1, right? Besides that, casting Rain of Fire is here. You have to watch your Wither timers a little bit here because you're not playing Channel Demon Fire and Roaring Blaze is bugged. Whenever they fix that, though, hopefully we won't have to worry about that anymore. So, Rain of Fires, cast Kata. There you go. So I'll cast my Malevolence about right now. It's about a minute into this pull, give or take. My Infernal's off CD in about 20 here. Now, depending on where you're at in plus, I still think it's better to hold, even though you're playing Hellcaller here, with this talent here, Infernal, giving you a minute and a half Infernal. I think it's still very likely better to hold your Infernal, this, for your Malevolence, even though Infernal is a minute and a half cooldown, down from 2 with the Inferno talent. There could be scenarios if it's like a massive pull and you want some sort of CD, you can desync them and stuff, but like, the more I think about it, I think builds might shift out of like Inferno and Chaos Incarnate for Hellcaller into like other things for M+. Maybe like playing Fire and Brimstone, Flashpoint, all that. I might put that experimental build down below in the description when I look at it here, just because honestly, this desync feels terrible. It feels great for Diabolist, but it feels terrible for Hellcaller. Especially with things like Through the Felvine and stuff just giving you like twice the amount of damage when you sync your Malevolence with your Infernal and things. It's just or, well, for Crushing Chaos and stuff, or Rain. You have damage in a window with your Infernal, right? And like desyncing here and not getting value here if you're playing like this, like Infernal or Crushing Chaos in single target, or even if you're an M+, it feels really bad. I'll probably put the experimental build down below. I don't know if it's good, but if you're playing this build of Hellcaller, I would basically make your Infernal a 2-minute cooldown, even though it's a minute and a half with this, and sync with every other Malevolence. So thanks for watching, guys. Wrap set up. Hopefully the video wasn't too long, but hopefully it gave you all a better idea and understanding of Destruction in Midnight pre-patch. Not a whole lot's really changed. If you want links to talent builds or anything down below, they are, well, down below in the description for you. Profiles and things you can check down, or check the channel for like a couple of days ago for the add-on video, but I believe the profiles are on Twitch as well, !WA in chat, pull it up for you, my Wago and stuff, they're all in there. At the same time, a huge thank you, almost person Patreon, like always, all support, y'all. Thank y'all a million times. I greatly appreciate it. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, should be a link up here as well as down below in the video description. Honestly, man, I'm sort of like, maybe you can even tell in this video, I'm a little tired and burnt on recording these guides. I'm excited. The last 5 days have been so much recording of guides and videos and Wowhead stuff from the website and all that. But this is the last video I'm recording for now, not ever. I'm tired, man. But I'm excited. Pre-patch is on Tuesday, man. Hopefully the servers are up at a decent time. I'm ready to slam for a whole 10 minutes. Then we get back on beta for a month and a half, but it's sad. So thanks for watching, guys. If you're not subbed, consider subbing, please. It would mean the world to me, and I'll catch you again soon on stream. Peace.